Or Jamar, what's good?
Peace. What's happening?
Chilling. Before we get into anything more, there was really some horrible news this morning with the church shooting that happened in South Carolina. Right. So I guess this was one of the oldest churches in the South.
Right. Historically black
churches in the South. And a white churchgoer showed up, I guess prayed.
Well, he wasn't a churchgoer. He was just a white male who came
who came in the church.
Right.
I guess prayed with them for about an hour or so.
Correct.
Then pulled out a gun and killed like 9 people.
Right.
I mean, how'd that make you feel when you heard that?
You know, it immediately made me think like, where are we right now? Like, what is the date that we're in right now? Because a lot of the shit that's going on right now is like the 60s being played over again.
Yeah, the church bombings and everything
the church bombings and just the police brutality. And, you know, it's slightly different, but it's the same. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And it's like, my wife even told me that she has a connection to 2 people
in that church
that were killed in that church. One of them,
oh wow,
she went to school with a guy whose grandmother got killed in that.
Oh, so he was killing like old women and stuff like that?
Indiscriminately. Then she just hit me a little while ago and said one of her sorority sisters got killed in the shooting.
Okay, so in the process of us actually talking,
right,
they caught the shooter.
Right, 21 years old.
21 years old, weird looking white kid.
Right, fucking bowl cut.
Yeah, bowl cut. You know, when you look at him, you could tell that socially awkward.
Right.
You know, based on the pictures that I'm seeing.
Well, I didn't see those pictures. I only saw some of the surveillance footage. I didn't see any close pictures, but I know he had a fucking, yeah, come on. Uh-huh.
That's the
type of motherfucker. Uh-huh.
21 years old.
Well, now here's the thing, right? I know they're billing this as a hate crime, you know, but is this not terrorism? Like, and in one of our last conversations that we had, Vlad, when the people went in and, you know, they had the Muslim art fair, and then those guys came and I guess shot a couple of people or whatever the case may be.
That was terrorism.
That was terrorism. So and the fact that they were Muslim was focused upon. I could almost guarantee you this guy is a Christian, okay? I could guarantee you he's a Christian.
Why do you think he's a Christian?
White Southerner, white guy in the South, like, you know.
Just the odds, yeah.
Roll the dice, and I'm pretty sure that you're gonna hit fucking 7 on that. You know what I mean? So my thing is,
doesn't sound like a Muslim guy.
Come on. We know that's not a Muslim
Doesn't sound like a Jewish guy.
I mean, no. It sounds like another white Christian who, you know, believes in white power or whatever the fuck he's on and wanted to make a statement, you know? But is this going to be considered Christian terrorism? Is that how the media is going to portray it? See, because already from the onset, they're calling it a hate crime. Yeah. Well,
what's the difference?
Any murder to me is a hate crime.
Yeah, what's the difference between a hate crime and an act of terrorism?
Psychological, the psychological symbolism that words bring about. That's all. There is no real difference.
Yeah, hate crime is usually used for
racial
rights versus blacks most times. I'm not saying every time. And terrorism used.
No, hate crime is also used with the gay population now.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's used when most times, and definitely not always, when a white person attacks a black person or
vice versa.
Or a black person attacks a white person? Mm-hmm. That's considered a hate crime?
Yeah. It depends on the context of it. If a black guy attacks a white guy, or a group of black guys attacks a white guy, and while they're beating his ass, they're like, "You fucking cracker, da 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 da." They're gonna say that that's a hate crime.
You just don't hear that reported very often.
No, you don't.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm
No,
saying you
it
just don't.
definitely happens.
Or a heterosexual person attacking a homosexual person is considered
Right.
a hate crime as well.
Right.
Or,
Only by virtue, though, of the attack and the verbalization of while you're doing it, you're saying faggot, da 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 da.
or like, I mean, for example, a non-Jewish person attacking a Jewish person, or like a synagogue, or putting swastikas on the side of a synagogue.
see,
that's considered a hate crime.
That's considered a hate crime. But see, if a non-Jewish person just happened to do something to a Jewish person, see, it's the vocalization or some sort of symbol. Like if you draw something, like you said, or if you say something that is in conjunction with the violence, that's what usually makes it a hate crime.
Okay.
Right now, they're just assuming by the fact that he's white and this was a traditional black church. I didn't hear anything. I don't know if he got up and said, "You fucking niggers," and started shooting motherfuckers like that. Because that's when you really put the hate crime shit together. Right now, if nothing was said, this is just terrorism. This is terrorism. Christian terrorism. I mean, I don't have it yet that he's a Christian, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that he is until y'all prove me wrong that he's not.
Okay, hold on. I'm reading up about this as I'm talking to you. So there's a picture of him in like a swamp, and he was wearing a jacket with flags of apartheid era South Africa and Rhodesia, as modern day Zimbabwe was called during a period of white rule. So he was actually wearing symbols of
Black oppression,
white
dominance over black people, right?
In African countries,
Right.
So obviously,
And those were Christian. Those were so-called Christian nations.
were they?
Absolutely. What you think they still worship over there? Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah, I guess that makes sense. So he's and these are flags that don't even exist anymore.
Right.
He's
going out of his way.
He's going out of his
to
way.
be educated about some shit that probably was going on when he wasn't even born yet. Yeah.
Basically, it's implying that he believes that whites should rule over blacks.
He's a white supremacist.
He's a white
supremacist. When you go to the history of South Africa and people like P.W. Botha, this man had open speeches about killing black people, about how the different ways that can be used to get rid of black people. He's got speeches where he talks about, we need to be putting things into their brews and the beer and shit that they drink and finding different ways to basically commit genocide against black people.
Okay, so here's some more information. Before he opened fire,
Right.
he said, "I have to do it. You rape our women, and you're taking over our country, and you have to go."
So that's what made it a hate crime right there. You see, that vocalization is why they could put it in hate crime status, but it's still terrorism. But that vocalization right there is why he did it. Now, he said we raped their women. Last I checked, a lot of these white broads is giving it away freely to the black man. So I don't know if you call that rape, if you feel like we raped her mind or something like that. But
Right.
these bitches is giving it away.
Right. You're taking over our country.
We're taking over your country. First of all, we built this country. Okay? This country would be nothing without the labor and the free labor that it received from black people in this country. So how could we take over something that we built? I mean, it's already ours.
It's an interesting statement, though. Like, why would a white American feel that blacks are taking over?
Well, see, this is the neuroses, though, in general, that exist within most Europeans, period, towards black people.
Yeah?
Yes.
Explain.
It has to do with genetics. It has to do with the fact that, you know, black people can sneeze and get a woman pregnant. You understand what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
Meaning that we multiply much stronger and faster than Europeans.
Really?
Really. Look into the statistics. Look into, especially when we deal with things like fertility and drugs of that nature. Those are usually
So you're saying a black person's sperm is more likely to impregnate an egg than a white person's sperm, or is the implication is the implication of this
right
that blacks are more sexually active than whites, and therefore by throwing the dice
The implication is that we're more fertile.
More fertile.
Yes.
Both the men and the women.
Yes. We're more fertile. First of all, we're the ones that populated this planet, okay? It is our seed that created all seeds come from our seed. So you have to understand the strength and the power of the original man's seed, okay? As it goes down, as you get, and see, this is not anything racist. This is scientific. And this can be proven with science.
I would say before you go on, I recently interviewed porn star Lexington Steele, who has claimed to have sex with 5,000 women. And in our last interview, I'm not sure if this part has come out yet or not, but he said he has never gotten a single woman pregnant.
That's anecdotal. You know what I mean? That's anecdotal. That's one person. I'm talking about in general. There's always going to be an exception to the rule.
He's quite an exception, though.
Right.
5,000 women never got anyone pregnant, and he's going raw dog every time, essentially.
Right. And I'm sure you could find a fucking black guy with a Chinese guy's sized dick out there. But is that the norm? Of course not. Like, you know what I mean? So that doesn't matter.
Okay. I just want to just throw that in.
What I'm saying is, the farther that you get away from original,
okay,
things get weaker.
Okay, but you're not far from the original, but you're from your skin tone is not
right. I'm not the knowledge
is not completely dark skinned.
So my shit probably is not as strong as a knowledge seed. You see, there's knowledge, there's the foundation, and there's the wisdom.
So you're saying a dark skinned black male is more likely to impregnate women than you.
What I'm saying is, the original man, the original black man, the original man that walked this planet was a very dark-skinned man.
Okay. Well, because of the region of where they grew up.
That's one of the things. Okay.
Isn't that most of it? Because in certain climates,
maybe we're the sun people.
Yeah, the sun people.
But I mean, the sun people from the sun. Okay.
Well, but I mean, in a particular region, if you grew up in those African regions where there was a lot of sun, a lot of heat, your body
Listen, a white person can stay in that. It could stay in that environment for thousands of years and will never become dark skinned. Never.
Well, a light-skinned person in that environment will probably die. Like, I burn. Like, you throw me in sub-Saharan Africa without any, real shelter and sunblock, and I'm gonna be fucked up.
I I was just in Dominican Republic and I was like, curse the white man that entered my genetic makeup, because I was peeling and fucking, my shoulders was fucking sore. And I'm one that be like, fuck that sunscreen, I don't fuck with that shit. Like, y'all motherfuckers is trying to block the sun, okay? Which is the giver of life, vitamin D and all this type of shit. But I had to come to grips with the fact, and I didn't put it on, but at the same time, I was peeling like I shouldn't be. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna find many dark-skinned people that's in the sun that's gonna get burned unless they out there for like crazy.
Well, right, because they have more melanin in their skin.
Exactly. So the more melanin you have, the stronger you are, and the more resistant you are to certain things.
To the sun.
But not just the sun. You see?
What else?
Melanin correlates to a lot of different things, Vlad. A lot of different things. Too many to really go into here, but it also has to do with fertility and virility. Melanin, yes. Okay.
And I mean, you also, there is the point of like dark-skinned people, when they mate with light-skinned people, the baby, I forgot what the term is, but dominant genes, I guess. You know what I mean? Like,
black is always dominant.
It's very rare, like, that you have a biracial child who looks white.
Very rare.
Logic, the rapper Logic is one of them.
2 black people can create a white baby. There's albinos out there.
Well, but that's not white.
But it is white. It is white. It's lack of melanin. You're talking Caucasian. It's still white.
Well, albino is somewhat of a birth defect. Like, I mean, you have no melanin.
You're right.
You have no melanin.
It is a birth defect.
Here's
the thing.
I wouldn't consider
there is no reverse of that. 2 white people cannot create a black child. Or there is no like birth defect that makes 2 white people that's gonna have a black child.
2 white people couldn't create an albino child.
Right, but it's still white. You see what I'm saying? They can't create a black child.
But it's albino. It's lacking any color.
Well, albinos still have a little bit of
not so
in
much.
there.
Not so much.
If you had no melanin, you couldn't live.
Okay, I'm fairly light. But you put me next to an albino,
right?
I look dark. I look dark compared to an albino.
But they still have to have some degree of melanin to even live. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. You can't live with 0 melanin. Like, their shit is just at such a low level that it looks like they're totally devoid of melanin. But anyway, you can't do the reverse. 2 white people can't make black, but 2 black people can make white. Whether you say an albino is not white, regardless, it is white. And if we keep going from black to brown, brown to red, red to yellow, you know what I mean? We finally get to white. And when we get there, there's a weakening that has happened, okay? And traditionally, through history, the European has been very threatened by, first of all, the phallic of the black man, which is a symbol of his virility. And they've been talking this, you're going to take our women's shit for as long as we can remember.
I've never understood that part.
Why?
Honestly. Because I just think it's I guess male insecurity.
Yes.
Which I've never really dealt with myself. So.
Right, but it's there somewhere, because in your racial DNA, the majority, and especially people in power who get narcissistic and all of that, that fear starts to control your life. That fear has led people to wars and led people to try to exterminate motherfuckers on this planet Earth.
Remember,
just from the fear, yes, of a black planet.
Fear of a black planet. Right.
Okay? Because the fear of a black planet is real. It's all about genetic survival. And this is why black people, or just people of color, period, are a threat to the less genetically, strong, is all I can say, And it's not in a way where you're trying to say, oh, I'm superior. See, it's different.
This situation, Diddy's a multimillionaire. His son has been going to that school for a few years now. Never heard of any situations. Clearly something happened where Diddy felt his manhood was being disrespected, or he was in some sort of danger.
A motherfucker in this day and age will do anything if they feel like it's gonna go viral. You know what I mean? If motherfuckers is gonna be talking about it, shit, I'll do whatever.